Let's figure out whether there are some market reactions to this announcement of the infrastructure package. And for that, we're going to go to, of course, Abigail Doolittle. So are the markets reacting at all, Abigail?
There is a reaction. Now, first of all, we have had a multi-day rally into this bipartisan deal, the possibility of the passing in the Senate for the true infrastructure piece of it. But very encouraging is if we break it down and we go into the S&P 500 industrial sector, it is now at session highs. It had been up just slightly ahead of this announcement, now up about 0.8%. So that suggests that perhaps the human capital portion of the package that Senate will, in fact, manage to use the filibuster to then pass it along to the House, because, of course, Nancy Pelosi is saying that it needs to have both pieces for a more than $1 trillion package. And if we break it down even more, David, Fluor, an engineering and construction company, up for a fourth day right now today, up 6.3%, up 10% over those last 4 days, the best stretch in many, many months. Jacobs Engineering, AECOM. So that reaction suggests that investors of these engineering companies, these infrastructure companies that do put in the bridges, that they think that the deal is going to get done.
Well, exactly. That's what I would take away from that for the markets. Initial reaction, and markets can move around, but it would suggest that at least if I can call it the hard infrastructure part, the core part that these senators say they've agreed to, that markets are basically saying, yeah, we think it's going to happen, and that's going to be good news for certain sectors.
Absolutely. The fact that you have these companies, these stocks really climbing on this suggests that investors think that the bottom line will benefit at some point, and as Lonnie Chen was saying, it could take a while for this to trickle through, but the initial reaction typically does happen on the news. And again, it does suggest this sort of a reaction into it and out of it, because sometimes you would have sell the news, but we actually have these stocks climbing even more on this news, suggests good news in terms of passing it along to the House.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether Wall Street believed the news until they actually heard it as a practical matter. And we still have a long way to go. But what about the rest of the market? Is what you're describing, is that disproportionately up compared to the rest of the market right now?
Yes, it is actually a big outperformance. Again, the engineering and construction companies, they're up 6%, 3%, 2% relative to the S&P 500, up now 0.6%. So a big bullish reaction, again, suggesting that investors, specialists behind these sorts of companies, think that this infrastructure deal is going to get done. And then another interesting point, David, is bonds are basically flat, or if we talk about yields, are basically flat. So it's not too much of a deal, given the fact that bond investors are very steady here as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Abigail Doolittle, for that. An instant report on the market reaction. We're going to go back now to Emily Wilkins and Capitol Hill just for a very short report about the possible reaction up on Capitol Hill to what we've heard so far. Emily?
So at this point, we're just getting the news from the White House and from President Biden that a deal has been reached. President Biden is in support of the bipartisan infrastructure plan that senators have put forward. Now comes the second hard part, getting 60 senators on board with this plan. Democrats say the way they are going to do that is to have two bills move at once, that bipartisan Senate infrastructure bill and then a larger package with more of President Biden's initiatives, including child care, child tax credit, and that is going to be passing alongside the bipartisan one.